whole day in Taormina is our plan. We need to get a bus. One of the hazards, pulling the dinghy up on the beach. Sandy feet. Not me, because I just did a big jump and kept my shoes on.
She got the princess deployment.
So this is the main road where the Duomo, I think, is in this direction.
Right.
Whoa. This is lovely. Maybe a little bit of sugar.
It's the small luxuries in life, like cups and sauces.
Where's Helios? Are we the middle one? For those three?
No,
The back one?
back. See the blue powerboat
Yeah.
on the other side of there.
Wow. This place down here has 2 swimming pools, 2 levels.
There are a lot of tourists here, but it doesn't feel overcrowded, does it?
It feels happy
Yeah,
and touristy. That's what I love about tourist places. Once on holiday,
yeah.
and everyone's kind of in awe and loving it.
It's a fabulous little town, up on the hill. Gives it a lot of different layers and makes let's say the development of the buildings very organic as they sort of shape themselves around the landscape.
And it has a peacefulness. I don't know if you can hear it with all the people around us, but it has a quietness like a hilltop village.
Yeah.
I don't know whether because there's nothing around us.
And every little corner has its own little vista, either back up the hill or down to the sea. It's
So gorgeous.
beautiful.
36. 1636. I'm good with my Roman numerals. I've had a few times when we've bought pizza to share, they ask if you're sharing and they give it to us on 2 plates already cut. We don't get that in Australia, you just have to share it off the big thing. It's nice. Never seen a more pleasant dustbin truck. Not a sound. Great day we had. Look, we put a new backpack. Nice medium size and waterproof. What do you call it? It's dry bag. Very nice. Oh, 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 oh. We are so excited about this. Richard, come here. We have been looking for this since we left Australia nearly 2 years ago.
I actually
Over
had,
2 years ago.
yeah, I actually had something which was a bit bigger, but same concept that I got from IKEA. And thought, oh, that'd be great on the boat. And then when we had to make the choice to pick up the boat over here, we had to shed a whole lot of stuff, and it was one of the things that didn't make the list.
Make it. It is a stainless, insulated coffee plunger. That because they're normally glass.
And we're really short of different ways to make coffee on the boat. I think we must only have about 4, but the coffee plunger's nice and easy.
And the reason we want insulated, not just because we never get a nice warm second cup, is that you can grab it from the outside in a hurry if it's starting to fall or slide, and you don't burn your hands. So we just picked it up as soon as we saw it and went, yes!
Yeah, it's been
We've
like
tried so many shops.
2 years of looking.
Right across Europe, France,
and
Italy,
of course you always just get those glass beaker type ones, so yeah, cool.
Yeah, we had a beautiful day in Taormina.
It's lovely.
Really lovely.
Yeah.
Full day. It was busy. I can't imagine what it's going to be like in July and August.
Yeah, you know
It's
what I
only
said.
May.
Yeah, you know what I said. It wasn't too bad for tourists. Oh my goodness me.
After lunch.
After lunch, it was busy.
Yeah.
I think, man, we're May, June, July.
August, September is going to be
August,
awful because this is
yeah.
only middle of May.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I reckon it'll be shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah. Well, the sun is starting to set on what has been a magnificent day in Taormina. It was just beautiful.
It was lovely. I'm glad we made the effort to get here.
Yeah.
And from a sailing perspective, look, this has all been pretty easy. We've had some pretty light weather, but it's been probably 10 days of planning around, some nasty weather and what was coming after it, etc. So yeah, that's just the norm of our life, really. Yeah.
And we got it, and we had a full day here.
Yeah.
But we're heading off in the morning, so this is it.
Yes.
Bye, Taormina.
Bye. Yes.
And hello, Messina Strait.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. Just doing some research at the moment, the best time. I'm trying to go through when the current is obviously least. So I've just got to work that out.
Okay, today we're off, leaving Taormina, and we're heading up the Messina Strait. This is exciting. It's a very special piece of water. Richard spent an hour, more than an hour last night, looking at currents and tides and things, and we think we've got the timing right. Let's see. We didn't get up to see the volcano. We did have a great day in Taormina. It's very pretty and clear today.
So as we go up the straits today, I'll explain to you some of the challenges about going through the straits and how we're managing them. It's a place of myths and legends, and some of that comes back to a very close relationship with this boat, and that is Odysseus. So I think he was returning from the Trojan Wars, and he wrote about his journeys back, which is where we get the word Odyssey from. And of course our boat's a Sun Odyssey, so there's a good linkage there. And he wrote about the challenges of going up the Messina Strait, what's that, I don't know, 2,500 years ago. And those challenges are no different today. That's one thing about the sea, some of those things don't change over time. It's the lovely Taormina up on the hill, and where you see that big ship is where boats normally anchor, because normally you're getting a northeast swell coming down from the straits, and it's under this end here where you get shelter. We've just had different circumstances, so we've been down the other end of the bay, You'll see over there, there's a bunch of moorings over there as well. If you look on No Foreign Land, etc., you probably find some information. I think George is the contact for those moorings, so if you want to take one of those moorings, you get a hold of him. There are some places I think you can get your dinghy on the beach over there. We couldn't do that yesterday because the south easterly swell was causing breakers on the beach there. So either of those, you can get buses up the hill. We'll just take you around the corner here. There's a couple of beautiful little bays, which is where most of the tourist boats are heading.
It's a beautiful place to holiday. I reckon all of those big buildings would be hotels. Gee, imagine owning it. Imagine it being a private property. Oh, there's a restaurant nestled into the rocks there. So pretty. It's a little bit of a cave on the beach that looks like a restaurant. You can probably only get there by boat. That's pretty cool.
So a little bit of information about the strait. So where we are at Taormina at the moment, over here to east-northeast is the Italian mainland, which is about 20 nautical miles away. And the strait is really up further north from us here. And what happens is that Sicily and the mainland squeeze together until we get down to about 1.5 nautical miles at the top of the strait. So we effectively have this funnel. And not only do we have a funnel that way, we also have a funnel from below. Out here, it's about 1,500 metres depth in the middle between Sicily and the mainland. And then at the mouth, it's about 250, maybe 300 metres. So you've got that restriction in depth as well. So typical for those sorts of areas, like there's not a lot of tide in the Mediterranean, but because of those dimensions, you do get tide going through the strait here. And really that's the source of a lot of the things that you have got to watch out for and the effects of those tides. So at spring tides, that tidal current is the strongest. We're just about in between spring and neaps.
When there's been a lot of rain, you get things that wash down the rivers, and there's some rivers here. So we just have to be careful we're not going to run into stuff. That was just debris, but sometimes you get big things like logs. See the big log up here, don't you?
So as we go past the point here, I thought it would probably be a good time to talk about the geography around here. So not only do we have the funnel on the ocean floor and the restriction for the water, but we also have the same thing happening for the wind. There's high mountains either side on the mainland and Sicily, and that funnels the wind up the straits as well. So it doesn't matter where the wind's coming from the north, it'll get funneled into the top of the strait, or from the south, and again funnel them. So it has the same sort of high hills both north and south. Because of that funneling, you can get increased wind strength, but that combined with the tidal runs can give you quite a bad sea state. So if you get wind going against tide, then the sea is going to stand up. So tide for today, we are about slack water at the moment, I think, but really the slack water that we're heading for is about 5:30 p.m. So going through the most restricted part of the strait where the tide will be strongest, we're looking to get there when there's no tide moving. What that means for us is, unfortunately, we're going to have the tide running against us for most of this trip. But because we're in the wide part of the funnel at the moment, we're really not got any tidal effects here at all. As we get closer to the mouth of the strait, where the tides are strongest, then we'll start to feel them. But there are some phenomena that you can play. With the south-going tide, you can get some north-going tide back eddies, basically, going along the shorelines. So they tell me that if you're getting too much tide coming against you, go along the shore and you'll get the tide going the other way. So as you can probably see from behind me, we don't have much wind today. So again, that was another choice for me to be going through the strait today. It does mean that we have to motor the whole way. But you know, this is about getting through the strait, not trying to be a sailboat all the time. Two reference points they give you, one on the west side of the strait and one on the east. So we're going up the west side. Maximum tidal current will be about 2.5 knots. And that will occur around 3 p.m. So it's 1:30 at the moment. And then it subsides quite quickly. So by about 5:20, it's slack water through the top of the strait. So we want to be going through around about then. At that maximum tide, we're going to be at Messina. And Messina is an interesting place. It has this sort of spit of land that pokes out into the strait. And what lurks around there is a couple of sea monsters, or I'm not quite sure how Odysseus described them, whether they were sea monsters or gods or what it was. That you can imagine the southerly tide coming down and having to force its way around there. You get this eddy, sort of clockwise eddy, happens on the south side. And when you get the northerly tide going, you get the opposite. You get this whirlpool going on the northern side of it in an anti-clockwise direction. So you could imagine sailing up this coast in a small boat and perhaps rowing and getting caught in that eddy. And you might think, wow, this is fantastic, we're going really well. You try to get around the Messina promontory that's there, and then you get caught in the current that's coming down and you just end up going round and round circles. So you can sort of see why they sort of felt they were in the grasp of some supernatural being. Like I said, we're going through there when the current is running strongest, but it's 2.5 at the top of the strait. It's a bit wider, quite a bit wider at Messina, so it's not going to be 2.5. So yeah, I'm not sure we'll have too much there. So we're just coming into the area where we have our modern sea monsters. Odysseus, I don't think, had to put up with these, and they are the fast ferry. There is no tunnel and there is no bridge that connects the mainland Italy to Sicily. So unless you're flying in, you need to take the ferry across, whether you are a passenger or you want to bring your car across. So just before the start of the traffic separation zone and at the roundabout level, there are ferries that go between the mainland and Sicily. And as ferries do, they have their particular route. They tend to travel reasonably quickly and they're not so tolerant of you crossing their path, so you better keep an eye out. So we're about a nautical mile away from Messina. It's just over on my left, and we're just coming up to some disturbance in the water here. We're doing about 6.4 knots, so we're meant to have a southerly current, but I suspect we've got a northerly current where we are at the moment, and we're just coming into this little bumpy patch of water here. We've got a ferry coming right at us. Luckily he's only doing about 12 or 13 knots. There's a couple of fast ferries operating across here, across this part of the strait, that do about 35 knots. So it looks like this ferry is just turned to port a bit. Better get back to the helm and just make sure we don't meet in the middle.
This water's really cool. I've never seen anything like this. It's like it doesn't know what direction it wants to go in. Like it's boiling or something.
Yeah, we're pushing current now. We're 3.5 knots speed over ground, so we've dropped about 3 knots. And Helios is veering back and forward because there's current is swirling around off the end of Messina here.
You can see why it's a place of legends.
Now, one of the other things that you can see here, and it's another one of the legends, it's about the water moving up from below. Because of those changes in depths, a lot of the seawater gets forced up from deep, and you can just get this upswelling of water, and because of the difference in the salinity, that sort of increases that momentum as well. It normally looks like just an oily patch, calm patch on the water, and that's, you know, as the water's coming up. Apparently you can even bring up fish from the depths with the currents coming up. We're just coming past Messina. It's pretty busy. Ferries going back and forth like crazy. We're doing about 3.3 knots. So I've gone from about 1900 RPM to 2100 RPM. I think we're starting to break through this current now. It was pushing us out into the traffic separation zone, so I had to turn to port just to keep on my course. So I think we're nearly through it. So I've only got one ferry on the water at the moment. But I've got to keep a real close eye on these ones on the Messina side because they could take off at any time. They are coming on my port side, so theoretically they need to give way to me. But just to feel like not testing that theory too much.
Have coffee, honey.
Some veggies.
That's beans.
So we're just coming past Messina, and we're in the zone in which the ferries go across. Now doing 4 knots, so the current has dropped back probably a knot. We're sort of ferry gliding, we're getting pushed about 10 degrees to starboard. So yeah, I'm steering to port basically to keep along the side of the traffic separation zone. So I think the guys over here are just waiting for me to get in the middle of the crossing point before they all take off and try and run me down. It's not probably the case, but that's what it feels like. What are you working on now, honey?
I'm working on something for myself. It's a cardigan. Just a minute, I'll show you what it's going to look like. I know it's a bit weird to be knitting something woolly at the beginning of summer, but you can't knit in winter for winter because it takes months. This will probably take me like 6 weeks to finish, maybe more. So I knit in summer. It's a great thing to do because I can knit without watching what I'm doing. See, I can chat with Richard, I can pay attention to other things. Yeah, it gives me something to concentrate on as well. So that's the back. And that's the 2 fronts of the cardigan. So the sleeves will come out there. And soon these bits will get joined at the armpit. So I'm nearly up to the armpit.
Alright, so there goes one of them. and as is typical for these, they sort of go in pairs. So the one on the mainland side is left as well. So this one's just going to cross my stern by the look of it, and the other one I'm going to need to give way to. So while you're keeping an eye on that big ferry in front of you that's doing about, I don't know, 13, 14 knots going across your bow, don't miss the other one that's coming on your starboard side at 35 knots. Alright, we're through that crossing point. We've got the heart going. So we're about 4.5 nautical miles away from the top end of the strait, which is where the current is strongest. So it's 15:39, 3:39 p.m. So I've just slowed down because I don't want to rush to get there because the current will be strong. So the current's starting to ease now, but we just need to give it time. So I really don't want to be there for another hour at least.
Do you reckon that's food production, those big white dome things? Seems too close to housing.
Yeah, it might be some sort of greenhouse.
Yeah, lovely church thing. I had a beautiful view all the way. It really is a lovely sail and it's so interesting because we can see both sides, mainland and Sicily. Great countryside.
We're a couple of nautical miles off the entrance to the Messina Straits for the top end. There's two sea monsters that reside here. One from Odysseus, and that is, up here there's another whirlpool. And the other one's a modern day one, and they're sword fishing boats. And here is an example of a sword fishing boat. They have a massive long bow that apparently somebody runs out on the end and chucks a harpoon into the swordfish. And there's two guys right up the top of the mast that are apparently controlling the boat. Bizarre. I only just saw them today online, and so happy to see one, and so happy that it's not coming straight at me.
Look at the size of the boat. Whoa!
That is longer than the boat, isn't it?
Why?
Longer than the hull of the boat.
What's the point? Ha! So glad we saw it.
Yeah, there's another one operating just up in front of us as well.
Oh yeah? Huh? I don't understand. We need some research when we finish here.
So apparently others have said to me, just be careful because if they're chasing fish, they'll just come straight at you. See that
Glad
one?
we saw it, yeah.
Did you see them wave at me, honey?
So it's a traditional way of fishing. They call it sight fishing, which is more sustainable because there's guys up on the lookout, and then they give the signal that they've seen some swordfish, and then someone runs out that plank out the front and spears them. And I had a look at the spears. They're like multi-pronged spears. So it's an ancient way of fishing, and apparently it has something to do with reducing the stress, the adrenaline rush that the swordfish gets if they were caught in another way, such as on a long line, which is a long line with lots of hooks along the way. And it's very selective, so they see the one they want and then they go out and get that one. So there's lots of tours, so you can pay a lot of money to go on one of these boats and watch them do it. It was great to see them. We'd heard about them. Really happy that we got to see it.
And none of them went straight at us, so not as fearsome as they were made out to be, which was nice. We are not far off, doing about 5.8 knots, so I'm really not feeling any current coming south now. So I was trying to wait, but doesn't look like there is much current that we need to worry about, though we haven't got round the tip up here yet, but we're not far away. Okay, looks like we've hit some current. Not too bad. Just a few waves coming through like it was a wake. And we slowed down and now we're speeding up and slowing down, so must be a bit turbulent through here.
It's been a lovely trip, even though we've motored the whole way.
I'm happy we're getting through a little bit earlier because it gives us more options where we can anchor on the other side. Sunset's at 8 PM and it's now 4:30, so 3.5 hours. When we get out of the strait, then we'll determine where we're going to anchor.
Nice beach. It's been something to look at the whole way, on both sides. Why would this marker be so big? I don't get it. And what's the structure at the top? Like a crane. Alright, do I need to Google again?
And that's it, nearly done. We've got something happening up in front of us. There's a whole lot of rough, dark water. So theoretically I should be able to turn to port, but it's a big sandy point and I don't want to cut corners over that because sand moves in the current, and so whatever's on the chart is probably not what's there. Yeah, we're in 23 metres, it's suddenly got a lot shallower.
I googled as to why the port marker on the Strait of Messina is so big. And Google says it's because it serves a major transport hub and it's economically and strategically important. So let's see why that has to be so big.
Some of the ships that go through here are the big 400-metre long container ships, and I wouldn't want to be heading in here at doing 15 knots or 10 knots on one of those and not be clear about where I'm going. And sometimes I need to, their speed over ground will be higher, a lot higher than what their speed through the water is. So your speed through the water is where you get the control, but the speed over ground is the speed that you hit. So yeah, we're doing 4 knots, so there must be a bit of current coming in. Yeah, it's coming off our port side. I would say it's coming over a shallow sandbank on our port side, and as it's coming over, it's causing all this ripple. So looking at the charts, it's meant to get a bit deeper very soon, and looking at the water, it looks like we're going to be out of this in about 30 seconds. Starting to get deeper now. Yeah, just before charts saying 45 metres and we had 21.
The rippling is finished.
Yep. Yep. And we're now at 50 metres.
Behind you, you can see a line. We out, yes. was a really good trip. I actually got heaps of knitting done. But I can look and knit at the same time. And there was stuff to look at the whole way. I normally dislike a huge amount of motoring, but it was pleasant today.
Options now is we head over this way on the top of Sicily and find an anchorage along the beach. Forecast is pretty calm, so there is a big promontory that comes out that we need to go around. We could anchor on the side of that, but I think that's going to be just too far away and it'll be too late.
Yeah.
I think we'd rather just get on the beach there somewhere, and we'll tackle that problem tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah, and then we'll be going into one of our favourite little places for a couple of days.
Oh, sweet. Oliveri. So in 2023, our first sailing season, we spent about a month in Oliveri. Gorgeous little northern Sicily beach holiday town. And we loved it there. Looking forward to going back.